Now, looking at the PulseChain ecosystem, we had Patrick's Astro and stuff last week upset with us because we didn't have the customary Tuesday night Creative Crypto dip. Well, now we've got a customary Wednesday Creative Crypto dip because just a bit earlier, we started to see multiple six-figure sells in the ecosystem. I think I saw on Twitter a couple $250,000 sells of Pulse or something like that. So we sit here with Pulse at about 28% below the SAC rate at the moment. Pulse X 70% down. Hard to believe. Now over 4% bought and burned of that. Incentive token sits at $3.64. Hex is at 8.2 tenths of a penny, basically. And eHex, if you want to know, is a little under 2 tenths of a penny. I mean, there's so many zeros now, I'm forgetting what to even refer to these as, but that is where we are. More dippage. I can't say that I'm, uber stoked about the price action on Pulse. I was hoping that, and it has still gravitated to this somewhat, but we're starting to spend more time below that 4 zeros in an 8 area than I kind of wanted it to. I was hoping that area would act as a springboard, or at least we would see like massive support there. And again, it's not like we've crashed, like we haven't free fallen below it or anything like that. But I would have liked to see it kind of stick to there even more. So what do you, oh yeah. So we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary here. Yeah. And everybody that'll be an interesting thing. Well, that'll be an interesting thing to talk about here too. The whole 50 weeks to shake out the weak hands thing, and do people rely on that too much? And is that narrative real, or is some magical thing going to come happen the minute that we hit that? Which we're like 4 days away. I guess that would be mathematically. So, yeah. What do you think? We can get into that, or if you want to pull up the Pulse chart, I do think it would be good to look at.
Well, that was my point to bring this up. We're 4 days away from that magical 50 weeks to shake to shake out people, but it's been such a narrative that I don't know if it really holds true, or if it takes another 5 to 10 weeks after that to really shake out the people. We did see some massive buys early, but they weren't consecutive. It was a couple big buys. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, people sold. I think once 50 weeks happens, you might see a couple big buys. The whales aren't stupid. They're, the market makers know what they're doing. So the people that are buying aren't going to just put their whole bag in and let people dump. If there's still people that aren't truly believing in the system, if they're not, there are going to be sellers. So I mean, there's always going to be sellers. There's traders that are out there, but the weight of those traders versus the bigger bags that people hold, I think is really a telling story. And people that have money know how to play the markets. So I think you're going to see, probably with 10 days left, or maybe even right on the anniversary, you're going to see some buys as just let's dip our toes in and see what happens. Are people ready, to let this thing run, or are they still lettuce hands and going to sell? So that will be the telling tale once that starts to happen. So yeah, I mean, we can look at the chart, but I just wanted to bring that up. And I don't really, do you think, I mean, what's your take on that whole 50 weeks to shake out the weak hands?
I don't want to say it's utter BS or anything like that. I mean, Richard, back when he said it for a reason, and it's a loose thing. I think people that are sitting here with that countdown like that, like, okay, that means that we're going to go up right after that date. Right. I think that's a complete asinine thought. I think that he was saying that generally, with any kind of new product that's worth buying that launched on kind of the timetable of what PulseChain did, optimizing for everything that he would want to optimize for, that's generally about how long it takes, which is roughly a year. So, does that mean we're going to see something extremely noticeable right now? And, you can watch this and be like, oh, you're moving the goalposts. You were saying all this stuff. Well, we were never really saying that as like a concrete, definite thing, or I wasn't. Maybe Ewok was. If you want to blame anyone, blame Ewok for that. Sure. But when it comes to, looking at these things in perspective, I think if you wait, till mid 2020, like another year from now, end of the bull market, basically, you may see that these were about the worst times, or this was like pretty much the last dip after that, and we started moving up after there. So it's a generalization. So I don't think anybody should be married to that. And, the people that are married to it and are going to be really upset when we don't go up only in like 4 days aren't really people who like probably have all, millions and millions, tons invested in the ecosystem, I should say.
Sure.
So